Welcome to another episode of the Bottom of the Stream Movie Show. My name is Adam.
My name is Nick. Welcome aboard. It's another movie episode where we...
I was waiting for you to say from the world famous Bottom of the Stream, but you didn't. So.
I was going to squeeze that in a bit.
Okay, cool.
Where we dredge the bottom of Netflix, randomly select a movie and find out if it's any good. We're looking for some hidden gems.
We are.
That's what we do on the world famous Bottom of the Stream podcast.
We are on an endless mission to find hidden gems hiding at the bottom of Netflix.
A lot of movies on Netflix.
A lot of movies on Netflix.
Scratch that surface and...
Right below the surface. Just lingering away. Yeah. Here they are.
Including this week's movie.
This week's movie, indeed. This week's movie is a movie that is on Netflix.
An OG.
An OG, it is. So this week we are watching a film called Xoxo. Just the 4 letters. It's from 2016. It's a 15. It runs for 1 hour and 32 minutes and is currently rated at 5.3 out of 10 on IMDb.
Yeah. I mean, it's about as middle of the road as you can get in a rating, isn't it?
Yeah. 5 would be middle, so 5.3 is not far off.
Google says that this movie, interestingly, well, it's not that interesting, but I think it's quite interesting, is 1 hour and 51 minutes long.
Google is incorrect.
It is.
Because it is not. It is 1 hour and 32 minutes.
I think it's not as if there's going to be like a direct... It's a Netflix movie, so there aren't versions of this elsewhere, not on Netflix.
No, it's a Netflix original. It's actually the 10th Netflix original.
Oh.
So there was very early days of Netflix original-ish.
There you go.
Originaling. So yeah, it's came out in 2016. But no, it is definitely 1 hour and 32 minutes long.
It is. I can vouch for that.
Did you panic a little bit when you saw that?
Yeah, I did first, yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad
Didn't think I was in for a 2 hour movie.
I'm glad it wasn't any longer than what it is. This film stars a lady called Sarah Hyland. She plays a character called Crystal.
Yeah.
She is most famous for spending many years as Haley Dunphy in Modern Family.
Yes.
That's probably what she's most well known for.
Absolutely.
Ever been a big Modern Family guy?
I don't mind it. I never followed it.
No, same.
Season.
I've watched episodes of it. Some people in it are really funny.
Yeah.
But I've never gone season to season on it.
No.
Maybe I will one day.
Yeah, I know it's highly regarded. I've watched some episodes I've really enjoyed.
Yeah.
But no, I was never a big fan.
No, not me.
It's fine.
It's fine. That's what it is.
But critically, absolutely lauded. That sitcom, wasn't it?
It's known as one of the best sitcoms of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Went for years as well.
Yeah, a long time.
Years and years. Also stars a guy called Graham Phillips. He plays a character called Ethan Shaw.
Say he's the lead.
I would say he's the lead. She's the most famous, which is why she's top billed,
yes.
I guess. But he's the lead.
Yeah,
it's his film. He's most famous. He played Zach in a TV show called The Good Wife for many years.
Yeah.
I've never seen that either, but he was in that for a long time. He's also one of the kids in Evan Almighty.
Oh, really?
The sequel to Bruce Almighty with Steve Carell.
Yeah.
And finally stars a guy called Bret Delbuono, who plays Tariq.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find much about him at all.
Okay.
He's only got this and a few other things on his IMDb. Talking of not much on your IMDb, this was written and directed by a guy called Christopher Louie. This is his one and only credit on IMDb.
I mean...
Nothing before, nothing since.
I guess, it is 6 years old now, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility that he will come storming back.
No.
But we do see quite often, we'll do a movie that is a good few years old.
Yeah.
And that person has not done anything since. Particularly in the writing and directing sphere.
Yes, absolutely. We do come across movies that seem to be career suicide.
And I wouldn't say this is on that level.
No, I wouldn't either. No, I definitely wouldn't.
Which is interesting. Because I would have thought... Well, obviously we'll get into it. But in terms of what Netflix asked for, we want a trendy EDM set movie for the kids.
Yeah.
This delivered that, didn't it?
It is what it says on the tin. Absolutely is what it says on the tin. I'm going to put this right at the start. I thoroughly expected to hate this. I thought this might be the first time I've not finished a film that just kicked out and I've turned it off because I hate it. I didn't. I did get to the end of it. So
I was not excited to start this.
No, I wasn't.
And at times I thought, oh my God, I'm too old for this movie. But it's not aimed at me. But do you know what? I also got to the end. I thought it was fairly pacey.
Yeah.
And some bits of this I quite liked.
Some of it's all right. Anyway, do you have a one-word review of Xoxo? Nice. I'll take that.
Don't know how you spell that.
There's some W's in there somewhere. Where does this film start, Nick?
With a piano.
It does, indeed.
There's a boy in his bedroom creating music.
Yeah, he's producing a music track.
Yeah.
It's not a piano, it's a keyboard.
Yeah.
You're so old. And he quickly finds out whilst he's producing this track, he gets a message from his mate on Skype that dates this movie slightly.
Everything in this movie is like truncated, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he literally makes this track and then posts it to YouTube, and the views instantly go
Yeah, and he gets a message from
through the million view.
Yeah, it hits 1 million views, which also dates this because most things on YouTube get 1 million views these days. Yeah, and his mate messages him on Skype. It's like, mate, you've committed 1 million views.
Wait, he says, "Where are you? I want you to remember on where you were on the day your life changed."
Yeah, he does. His mate's probably more excited about him than he is.
He says, "I've lined us up a meeting with a record exec as well."
Yes, he does. Then we cut briefly we meet a young couple. This is Ray and Shani. That's it. I knew I'd got it down there somewhere. They're in bed. They are talking about their future because they are about to be separated by. She's going off to uni. He's not.
Yeah, they're going to try a long distance relationship.
But at the minute, they need to get up and they need to get packing because they're going somewhere.
Yeah, and this quickly becomes apparent. This is very much an ensemble cast.
Yes.
We're following 6 or 7 people.
Yeah, 4 or 5 different storylines all going at the same time. Some are more interesting than others.
Indeed.
Ethan finds out, Ethan's our main character, this guy who was producing this music track, that he's been added to the lineup of a festival.
Yeah.
And the festival is called XOXO.
Sure.
It's a dance music, DJ type festival.
Easy done.
Yeah.
Don't know how. Again, everything's kind of truncated. Just accept it.
Yep.
That he's on the bill.
Tarek's acting as his manager. His best mate's acting as his manager.
Yeah.
Somehow has managed to get him added
Got
to this
contacts.
festival. Yeah. And the festival's in 8 hours time. The set's in 8 hours time. So this is all happening very quickly for Ethan. He's only just uploaded this track and suddenly he's now famous.
Which I didn't like the gimmick of it's a race against the clock.
Yeah.
But I can kind of see why it was done to try and give it some urgency.
Bit of tension, a bit of urgency.
Was it needed? I don't know.
Maybe not.
But
because for the most of this movie now, there's a little clock that comes up occasionally telling you how long is to his set, and he's got to get there. So then we get our first of many montages in this film.
Yeah, we also see, and as we're nipping around the characters, so we see Crystal, who is getting ready to go.
Yeah, this is basically a getting ready to get to the festival montage.
And then we see a record store owner,
Yeah.
Who's putting on like a party bus.
Yeah.
But he's jaded and he hates all new music.
We're not going to mention who that's played by.
We can do if you want.
Let's just not
someone who's cancelled.
Yeah, so. He's been cancelled since this movie was made, so we'll just not mention his name. So we come out of this montage and Tarek has arrived to pick up Ethan, or so we think. Because it then transpires that Tarek has turned up in his car, put Ethan in his car, and then told him, I'm not taking you to the festival.
I'm taking you to a bus.
He's taking
said party bus.
He's taking him to the said party bus.
Because Tarek works at his father's restaurant.
He's manager of his father's restaurant.
Yeah.
And his father won't let him out.
And Tarek is of, as you may have guessed from the name, Middle Eastern descent. So it's sort of Lebanese restaurant or something like that. Along those lines. And I did think, especially the character of his father, was really lazily drawn.
Yeah.
It was this sort of, workaholic,
typical
family business,
Middle Eastern businessman type. Nothing is more important than my restaurant.
Yeah.
It's a bit like,
there was no depth, and that would maybe be my big criticism.
There's no depth to any.
There's no depth to any of these characters, but I think there could have been, because I did like some of them.
Yeah, some of it just needed trimming. There was too much fat in it.
It both needed trimming. Some of it needed trimming, and some of it needed more.
Yeah, so you need to cut a couple of your characters away.
Yeah,
and then add more time in for your other ones.
Yeah,
his father reminded me. Stafflet's Flats.
Yes,
the dad in that.
Yeah,
it was just like
it was a parody of all of these
types of characters. Yeah. But anyway, Ethan's not happy about having to go on this party bus because he's got to take all his equipment with him.
Yeah, he's like, I've got to carry it. I've got to get in. I've got to get set up.
He's also really nervous about what's about to happen. It's like it's about to change his life. But so he promises it'll be fine, and we head on to the party bus where everybody's already there.
I've also got some. I'll maybe come to this later. I've got some real questions about logistics of how long it takes different people to get to this festival who all appear to have been leaving from the same place.
Yeah, there is that. So you can imagine what the people on this bus are like. They're all heading off to a festival. It's a rave more than a festival. It's a rave. Isn't it? They're all like neoned up. They've got all sorts of drugs going on. It's a very hectic bus. And then Ethan nearly misses it.
He does, yeah.
He arrives just as the bus is pulling off with all of his kit, and he gets on this bus.
There's a dead raccoon on the bus.
Randomly, there's a dead raccoon on the bus. And they all start chanting "Eat, Sleep, Rave, Repeat" because it's 2016. That's what we did.
Yeah. Probably all had it on a T-shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we cut to 4 girls in a car.
Yes.
Because these people are not on the bus. These are more posh girls, I would say. Classy
Little
girls.
rich girls.
Little rich kids, yeah.
Yeah.
And Crystal's one of them. She's going to this rave with her 3 mates. This is Hayley Dunphy.
She's meeting her, in inverted commas, soulmate.
Yes.
At the festival, who she's like connected with online.
Yeah, she's got like an online... Jordan, his name is. She's got an online boyfriend.
She's never met him.
Yeah.
In real life. I could have told you straight away.
It's never going to end well.
Never trust a Jordan.
Never trust a Jordan. Especially if you've only met them online.
Yeah. Bad start.
So they're also heading off to XOXO, this concert. I'm so old. Festival rave gig. And so we've got like a montage now of the bus going and the car going, and everybody's trying to get there at the same time. Ethan's sitting next to a guy who I've just described as a drug man all the way through this, because he's either got drugs, selling drugs,
I
or
had
he's
the
on
subtitles
drugs.
on, and I think that's what he's referred to.
Oh, is it really?
Drug guy. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And this guy's just talking his ear off. He's chatting away because
he's literally telling Ethan, and at this set I'm going to take this drug, and then when this guy comes on, I'm getting it on the mushrooms, and I've got it all planned out.
He's got like a pouch on his arm.
Fair play to him.
He knows what he's doing.
He's really prepared for this.
And Ray and Shani are sitting opposite Ethan, and they kind of spot his plight of needing to get away from this guy.
Yeah,
and they rescue him. So they invite him over to their seat, and basically,
apropos of nothing, Ray's like, who are you most excited to see? I'm most excited to see Ethan Shaw, this new kid, unaware that that's who he's talking to.
Yes,
because he's a faceless. He's
just a bedroom DJ on YouTube. And Ethan's like, "You fucking kidding me or what?" Yeah. And I think he does at that point tell them who he is.
Yeah, because when we cut back to them, I think he's told them.
Yeah. Straight from there, we see the 4 girls arrive at the gig at the festival. And they go straight into the VIP section.
Did I miss something here?
I don't know.
How did they get in? Did they already have VIP tickets?
Yeah, I think so.
But because they're rich and...
Yeah,
okay.
They tend in a car.
Yeah.
So they'd got VIP tickets. So they go into the VIP tent and they do some shots. And basically there's a bit of a party montage for them. But Crystal's constantly texting this.
Yeah, so I don't really want to be here. I want to go meet...
I want to get outside because they're in like a VIP tent. They're not outside at the actual festival. Cut back to the party bus. Liam, who is the old rocker that we mentioned, or the old raver that we mentioned earlier, who's running this bus, he's kind of bumming everyone out.
Yeah.
He's telling them, look, this sort of life that you're leading now doesn't last forever. Yeah. Like, this used to be me 20 years ago, blah, 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 blah. And he's old and out of the scene is basically what we're being told at this point. Tariq is still stuck at work. His dad won't let him leave. They have a bit of a row, don't they, him and his dad?
Yeah, there's 3 hours and 37 minutes until the set, by the way, at this stage.
So Tariq's like, look, I need to go. I'm Ethan's manager. And his dad's like, you don't. You need to manage.
Yeah, Tariq says, I've covered the lunch shift. That was the agreement.
Yeah.
Boris is coming to take over at 4.
Yeah.
Can
That's
I go?
his new job, Boris.
Yeah.
That's what he does now. But his dad doesn't want to let him go. But he goes anyway. He disobeys his father.
This was a very derivative scene. It wasn't...
Yeah.
There could have been something there, and it was just paint by numbers.
Yeah, because nothing ever comes of it either. It's just,
no.
He just
and there's no build up to him having this. I just think, why do this scene when we've had no build up to it? There's no. It's just a waste of a couple of minutes.
Agreed. So he leaves anyway, and he gets on the road to try and catch up with Ethan at this festival. Then the party bus breaks down.
Yeah.
In the middle of a desert, in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Everybody gets off the bus.
No phone signal.
Nobody's got any signal.
I thought, oh, right. Well, okay, most of the rest of this movie is going to be Ethan's battle to get there in time.
Yeah.
And hopefully he'll get there just before his set. No, Ethan takes 2 steps off this bus, and then someone goes, "Get in with us. We're going to the festival."
Yeah, the camper van just drives past, picks him up. Nobody else.
Just him.
Like,
him and Ray and Shani get in this camper van.
Yeah,
I think.
Nobody else turns up.
I was like, "What again? Why is the bus? What?
I don't know.
Why?"
Come back to Crystal. She needs to charge her phone. She's down to 2% on her phone. So she finds this little storage cupboard.
Yeah, it's a storeroom, isn't it?
Storeroom at the back of the VIP area. It's got a plug socket in. So she plugs her phone in, sits in there for a bit, texting this Jordan guy. People keep coming in. One guy has a piss in a mop bucket.
There's like a couple just getting down with it.
Yeah, somebody starts throwing up all over the floor.
And there's like a store dude coming in and out with moving boxes around.
Yeah. And then Ian Anthony Dale shows up, who's quite a famous actor. I don't know where he came from. He's in loads of stuff. You'd recognise him. He shows up. His name's Anders. He basically sits down and has a chat with Crystal for a bit.
She assumes this is like the janitor type guy.
Yeah.
I think, that's what we're supposed to assume.
Yeah, and she's just chatting to him because she's got nothing better to do, and he seems the only sane person she's met so far.
He's like a bit like a love shaman, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's giving out life advice.
Advice to everybody who wants it. Ethan arrives at the festival.
Sure.
Plenty of time left. 3 hours and 27 minutes left at this point. He arrives. Unfortunately, his name is not on the list.
That wouldn't happen, would it?
Nope.
If you're performing?
He's literally on the poster.
Yeah.
Right behind them. But who knows? His name's not on the list. So Ray, who he's with, who's been travelling with, of Ray and Shani, decides, I'll give you my ticket, and then I'll go up and queue and buy another one.
Again, I don't think you can do that nowadays.
Probably not.
Everything's there, bought in advance.
This is 7 years ago. This film's 7 years old. So Shani's not happy about it, but they agree to do it just to get Ethan in. They're big fans of his. So he goes in. Those two go in queue to buy more tickets. And then Tariq arrives at the festival.
He must have had a fast car.
He must have.
And he gets a spot right at the front as well.
Yeah.
Last spot in the car parking. There's little things like that. I think, especially having been to this sort of thing, and you're just like, yeah, that sort of thing's an absolute nightmare. This guy just rocks up. There's his parking space.
Yeah, if he was that close behind Ethan, you feel like he could have just gone with him in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
Time is passing in a very strange way in this film. Cut to a montage now of Ethan wandering around the festival trying to find where he needs to be. He sees himself on banners and posters. His name's on banners and posters all over the place, but he can't seem to find where he needs to go. And this is just a case to showcase how big the festival is and how many people are there.
Yeah.
And then he finds the backstage area. But obviously he didn't have a ticket to get in, so he doesn't have a backstage pass.
He's not got a VIP pass. No way.
So the security guard won't let him in. Tariq is then meanwhile walking through the car park, and this random girl just all of a sudden pounces on him and kisses him really hard on the face.
She's got a tab on her tongue.
She's got a tab on her tongue. Now, he's not happy about this.
No.
He's there for business. He's not there for fun.
Yeah, he's got this record.
He's got a meeting with a record company. He's there to see his best mate's
This stuff kicks in fast as well.
Super fast.
Like instantaneously.
Instantaneously, Tariq starts freaking out. He's on drugs now. The rest of the party bus people turn up. We have no explanation as to how these people arrived, but they do. And the I've written 3 jocks because they're like the loud guys from the bus.
They're like the they reminded me of like Barry Goldberg's posse. From
Exactly what they are. That's a great shout. That's a great shout. Oh yeah, that's funny. And they're hassling Liam to get their money back because the bus broke down, but he has still managed to get them to the festival.
Yeah, I understand in about 3 to 4 minutes why they would have been angry at him.
Yeah.
But they've got there at literally the same time as everyone else.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why
they're literally now frog marching him to the nearest cash point to get their money back.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, disaster strikes because the event reaches capacity.
It has, yeah.
Well, there's still an awful lot of people outside. This is not a very well run festival.
It's an absolute nightmare.
It's a shambles. So some woman gets on a megaphone and she's like, right, nobody else is coming in. Don't care where you are in the queue, who you are, you're not coming in. You might as well go home.
And there's still people outside with tickets as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Ray and Shani are still outside. Yeah. These guys from the party bus are all still outside. This does not go down very well. A riot starts, basically, is what happens.
People are rushing the gates.
Yeah, people are trying to...
The old Harris fencing.
Trying to get in. Meanwhile, we meet back up with Ethan. He's just wandering around aimlessly around the festival now. and he accidentally bumps into Crystal.
So she's coming out of this VIP room, and he's still sort of hanging around outside.
Trying to get in. She knocks all his kit out of his hands, and then she kind of helps him pick it all back up. And they have a bit of a moment. Their eyes meet.
Yeah. And
then as fast as it happens, it stops, and she walks away because Jordan's texting her, and she needs to go and meet Jordan. Cut back outside. People are still rioting outside. They're kind of pushing the fences.
Shani loses or drops or has her ticket nabbed off her.
Yep.
In the kerfuffle.
Yeah, but Ray's like, it doesn't matter. You can't use it anyway. It's worthless anyway.
Yeah.
So we just need to find another way in. It's basically what everybody's trying to do. There's fights going on. It's all sorts of kicking on.
Quite a few people do manage to either purposefully or, in Tariq's case, he just kind of gets sort of absorbed into a wave of people and ends up the right side of the gate.
He gets in in a wave of people, but he doesn't know what is going on. His head's all over the place. He's a mess. His drugs are kicking in big style.
As do you called him Liam. I thought he was called Neil.
Oh, was he?
I don't know now. I'm questioning myself.
I've written Liam all the way through.
Maybe the record store guy. Him and the jocks kind of get swept in as well, don't they?
I'm going to check names.
That's fine. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
at
all.
Slightest.
We're not even going to reveal who this guy was played by. Oh, it is Neil.
Okay.
Sorry, I've written Liam all the way through my notes. Where do we get to? Oh, and then somebody else's record manager turns up at the security gate.
So this is Chopper.
Chopper, good name.
Who is the manager of Avilo?
And he's like the headline act for this festival.
He's like the big star.
Yeah.
And Chopper says, he asks who this kid is, and he says, "I'm Ethan.
Ethan Shaw.
I'm on the bill." And Chopper's like, "Oh, well, you're with me.
Yeah,
isn't it?
You're the YouTube.
No one asked him for any idea.
No, Chopper's got some sway.
So he's like, yeah, you're with me. Get in here."
So finally, Ethan gets into the backstage VIP area,
and then we get another montage, and it's I've called it people being lost montage.
Yeah.
Just wandering around.
There's a lot of montage in this movie.
The festival. I'll give a bit of a positive here. I think it more comes into its own later on when we start seeing a few sets and stuff. I do think the sort of cinematography of the festival, especially when the night starts to fall and you've got all the lasers kicking off.
Yeah, fireworks and stuff.
I think it looked great.
Yeah, it did. It was clearly filmed at a festival.
Yeah.
This isn't like a fake festival going on. This is like definitely has been filmed somewhere at a festival. The couple who gave Ethan the ticket, which is Ray and Shani, still can't get in. Have decided to step away from the riot a little bit because they don't want to get involved in any of that sort of stuff. Yeah. And then Shani reveals that she thinks they might be able to get in by going through the sewers.
I've got a nitpick here.
We love a nitpick. What's your nitpick?
Which is really nerdy, but how many festivals of this size have you been to? Apparently in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
On a farm. Huge swathes of uninhabited land. Happen to have a full massive sewer system underneath.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's limited to sort of towns and cities, which we clearly weren't near.
No, we weren't. We were in the middle of nowhere. It may have been like a disused airfield or something. Okay. Who knows? But there's a sewer system because these two spend the rest of this film in it, pretty much. So they let's try and sneakily, discreetly get in this sewer system in the middle of this massive riot.
Yeah, because we can pop out
inside.
Yeah,
it's quite a clever idea. We've now at 2 hours and 37 minutes to the set, and we get another montage of people enjoying a festival. And then you kind of get a Tariq and Crystal both walking around aimlessly in a different area, but it's like a split screen deal going on.
Tariq's getting chased by the A&R guy from the record company. Okay, where are you? I'm waiting for you. Are we having this meeting?
But he hasn't got a fucking clue where he is. No. He doesn't even know what his name is anymore. Chopper introduces Ethan to Avilo. We meet him for the first time.
And Jordan keeps moving.
Yeah. So Crystal's texting him and he's like, meet me at this stage.
Yeah. Oh, now I'm at this stage.
She gets to that stage and he's moved to somewhere else. He does come across as a dick straight away, which is not surprising considering his name.
Exactly.
Suddenly, Tariq is in a meeting. We don't really know how he got there. He doesn't know how he got there, but he's in a meeting with these record people.
Yeah, and I wasn't clear if this was part of his trip or if he actually was.
Or everything that's happening to Tarek now is part of the trip,
think so,
because it does go it goes a little bit crazy now. Because then suddenly...
I actually quite liked
some of the stuff
they did well as he was tripping. I thought...
It really gave you a feel if he didn't know what was going on.
It was quite good.
He's in the middle of this meeting, then suddenly he's not. He's in the middle of a crowd, and then he's in the middle of a field.
Record exec starts like dancing with them. Yeah. I liked that. I thought it was quite funny.
He thinks he's dying. He reveals to somebody that he thinks he's dying, and then as soon as he says, "I think I'm dying," he's suddenly in a casket at his own funeral. Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, it's such a shame that Tarek died young because we all know that he's not achieved anything in his life yet," and it's quite funny. Chopper then reveals that he could get Ethan any girl that he wanted.
This was really creepy.
Yeah.
And like, again, out of context with the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
When Chopper's like, says to that girl, take your top off and
give him a hand job.
Give this guy a hand job. I was like, whoa.
Your face then is exactly what Ethan's face was like as well. Though,
but I was like, there's been no hit of any of this seediness in this movie.
No, there hasn't. But I imagine that's what this sort of
I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, you're right.
I'm not questioning
the
film. Accuracy of that you could get that if you wanted to, if you're at that level in this industry, but it was a fairly harmless,
family friendly kind
not
of
family friendly,
but there's lots of drugs and shit going on. But.
Fairly harmless movie until and that I was just like, whoa, that's a turn. That's a dark turn.
It was. But Ethan turns it down, and the girl looks as horrified as he does.
Yeah, and then Chopper's like, only joking, but not.
Yeah, but I'm not really. And Avilo reveals that he wants to sign Ethan to his label.
It's like, you want an Asian? I'll get you an Asian.
Yeah.
It's like...
I thought you said agent then. Meanwhile, Crystal is still looking for Jordan. Ray and Shani are still in the sewer, just aimlessly wandering around the sewers. They can't find a way out now.
Yeah.
And it's revealed to Ethan at this point that if he does sign with Avilo and Chopper, he would need to ditch Tarek. The offer is not for him.
Because Chopper will manage him.
Yeah.
And Avilo's like, I'll ghost on your first few singles.
Yeah.
Work together and you'll be a made man.
Yeah. Cut straight from there to Tariq, and he's now stuck in a portaloo.
He goes all train spotting.
It does, because he can't get out of this portaloo, and then he opens the lid, and he looks down, and there's a crowd of people in there chanting his name.
Sure.
So he's like, well, I'm going to go down there. So he literally dives into the portaloo. And then
I wanted him to come out blue.
Yeah, same. And then he's suddenly flying. Then he's falling a little bit. And then you see it, which is a really good shot, actually. You see a long shot of the festival crowd, and you can see him falling into them.
Yeah.
And then he just lands in a pool of water. His head's all over the place. And then he's suddenly crowd surfing. There's all sorts of shit going on to him. But the next time we see him is when Crystal's walking along and she trips over him because he's lying in just a pool of mess on the floor. Just
saying that he's dying.
Yeah, I'm thinking of dying. She kind of literally trips over him. And she's a nice person, so she kind of helps him out. She gets him up, gets him some water. She actually takes him to a tap and pulls his head under the tap to get him sorted. And they have a bit of a heart-to-heart. He talks to her about his dad and his relationship with his family, and he says, when I'm rich and famous and Ethan's made it to multi-millions, I'm going to buy my dad a push bike.
Yeah.
And then there's a shot of his dad just riding around on a push bike.
Really happy on a push bike. That was nice. That was
funny. She tells him, you won't get everyone's approval in life, but you shouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, and she's like, it's part of growing up. Not everyone will like you or something like that.
Yeah.
These guys, they're both clearly 30. It's it's the same thing we see with all of these movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Meanwhile, but Ethan's still backstage, is playing some tracks of his to Avilo.
And he loves them.
He does. He loves them. He's absolutely.
He's like, you're going to be the next superstar.
You're going to be a superstar, mate. And then the stage manager comes over and she's like, this kid's only got 10 minutes till his set.
Yeah.
So that time's gone quite quickly. So Ethan freaks out about that at that point.
Oh, Neil, the bus dude, finds some nice girls.
Yes.
Who are like, oh, you don't look like you're having any fun. Come with us.
And then he just starts to have a bit of fun for the first time. He has a bit of a dance, has some fun. Crystal manages to ditch Tarek with the 3 jocks from earlier.
Yes.
Who were harassing Neil.
Yeah. And he calms them down because they're still angry about getting their refund.
Yeah. And even though they're now clearly in the festival.
And he's just a light in their life that makes them enjoy where they are, all of a sudden, and live the moment.
The fun guru.
Yeah.
So she kind of ditches him with them, and Tariq manages to rescue Neil from the wrath of the jocks.
Yeah, he makes them all make friends.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, but they use the term peace, love, union.
They do.
And then they realise it's quite close to Ethan's set, and they all need to get there. So they start running through the festival. Unfortunately, Ray and Shani are still in the sewer.
Yes, they are.
That's over 3 hours they've been down there now.
They're now starting to argue.
Yeah. Judging by the time stamps in this movie, it's over 3 hours they've been in the sewers. Ray they do start to argue. Ray tries to have it out of her a little bit.
He said, you won't have this conversation with me.
Yes.
I just want an adult conversation about how...
Because she's moving away. What are we going to do? How are we going to survive this? But she just won't have it. She tries to walk away from him. And then we get to Ethan's set. Ethan gets taken up onto stage.
Yeah, so it's quite a sparsely populated crowd.
Yeah, he's in like a tent, isn't he? But unfortunately, nothing works.
No. And again, I can't imagine this would be true. He gets up there and the stagehand is like, oh, we ain't got the cables for your kit, mate.
Yeah. And it's like, surely this should be...
I'll leave you to it.
Yeah, he's just left on stage with nothing.
It's like, oh, by the way, you're losing time every minute.
Yeah, every minute. He's only got like a 10 minute set.
It's like the least helpful roadie of all time.
Nothing works. Even the USB sticks don't fit in the USB holes.
Yeah.
Literally nothing works. The crowd start booing. The crowd start turning on him. And it's an absolute disaster. He literally doesn't even get one song out in his whole set. It's an absolute disaster. Cut away from that, Crystal finally meets Jordan.
Yeah, they are in the crowd.
They are in the crowd.
Because she's like, oh, that's that guy I bumped into earlier.
Yeah.
He's up on stage.
Yeah, because they did mention as well that song was their song earlier in the day because they've been listening to it on YouTube together. And Jordan's like, nah, this guy's a joke. He's obviously a one-hit wonder. Let's leave. We'll go somewhere else. I'm pretty sure at this point Ray and Shani break up in the sewers.
I think they do.
They'd have this like the chat and eventually break up. Ethan is now off the stage. He's finished his not set.
Yeah.
And he meets up with Tarek for the first time.
What the hell's going on? You're fucked up.
He's not happy.
How can you do this to me?
Yeah.
So he calls him a shitty manager and a shitty friend.
And he's like, I don't need you anymore anyway. I'm going to sign with Avilo.
Yeah.
So Tarek's devastated by this because all he's done is try to get there and it didn't work out. Avilo meets up with Ethan backstage. He's like, look, that sort of shit happens all the time. Don't worry about it. It's just one of those things. You'll be with me. We'll be fine. Get those tracks over to me ASAP. We'll sort all this out. Don't worry. Then I think Ray and Shani get back together in the sewers.
I think so. She finally talks to him, doesn't she? Yeah. And says, I'm really scared of my move. And, but again, it was just an unemotional, emotional scene.
Yeah.
It was just people reading words.
It was. There was no chemistry there.
No.
It was. If you're going to cut anybody out, I'd probably cut these two out of this film.
100%.
Yeah.
Totally.
They're just stuck in the sewers characters for 4 hours and it's completely pointless. But I think they get back together. I think that's the shortest breakup in the history of movies. Jordan is obviously a dirtbag.
Oh, so him and Crystal go to Pandora for some reason.
Yeah, they do some sort of weird
they're like a UV tent, aren't they? And they're all... Hey, again, really nicely shot.
I've written it's the orgy tent.
Yeah.
Everybody in there is just like lying together, kissing, canoodling, all sorts of stuff.
It looks good on camera.
It does look great
with
on
all
camera.
The UV and the colours and the neon.
Yeah. He's trying to feel her up while they're kissing.
Yeah.
She's not having any of it.
She's like, I thought we were going to talk. We're soulmates. And Jordan's like, we've been talking for months.
Yeah.
Clearly, I thought we were just going to meet up and get down to it.
Do some naughty in this tent. So she realises he's an absolute dirtbag, because of course he is. Look at his name. She pushes him off and runs away. Then we go into what I've titled as an everyone is sad montage.
Sad montage. That's what I put.
So everybody's depressed, everybody's sad, except for Ray and Shani, who have just got back together after their shortest breakup. They seem all right, but
then, in quite a weird directorial decision, everyone gets shone on.
Yeah,
like God is like, oh,
yeah. There's like a beam of light comes down to everybody,
individually, scene to scene.
Very strange,
bit odd.
Yeah,
didn't like it. Unnecessary.
Neil meets Tarek. I don't know how these two know each other, but they do.
I don't think they did they?
But how did they just suddenly randomly meet? Yeah, but then he got a ticket on the bus for Ethan, so they must have met at some point. Anyway, he basically...
And Tarek tells Neil about the deal that Ethan's lined up.
Yeah. And Neil's like, don't let him do that. That guy's a scammer.
He says he'll take all the money.
He basically rips off. He finds young acts and rips them off, steals their tracks.
And he says, trust me, I know.
Yeah. Ethan then is chatting to Anders, who's Ian Anthony Dale, the storeroom guy, who's randomly in the VIP area now. And he hits him with some reverse psychology. Yeah. He's like, yeah, that was shit. You're shit. You should probably find something else to do. And Ethan's like, no, I'm the best DJ in the world. And it really G's him back up.
So then the storeroom shaman is like, just go out there and enjoy yourself then.
Literally go out, leave this VIP tent with these stuffy old people.
Yeah, what you're doing out here.
Go out to that festival, have some fun, enjoy yourself.
And then he drops the bombshell. He's like, I didn't create this festival for you to be sitting back here. Get out there with the people.
We only know he's called Anders because earlier in the film it's revealed that there's a guy called Anders who made this festival, and nobody's ever met him. He's like this mysterious guy, and this is revealed at this point that this is who this
working as a storeroom
shaman is. Yeah,
he tells Ethan to just get out there and have some fun.
Yep. Then we cut back to Ray and Shani, who are still in the sewer. I've actually written here, why are these two still in a sewer?
But suddenly they hear music.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, we must be
just around we must be under the festival. Yeah. And they literally walk around a corner and they get out of a sewer that they've been in for over 4 hours. A field. Yeah. The drugs dude reappears and he's talking to Crystal, who he also doesn't know.
Yeah.
And he tells her that he thinks Ethan might be her soulmate.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I met this dude earlier. I think he's your soulmate.
Yeah.
And it's all like, yeah.
Okay. It's very random.
You can buy that coming from someone who's fucked
up.
You
could, but he doesn't know Crystal and he's only met Ethan once. And he doesn't know that they've only met once as well. And then you get another one of these split screen moments. This time it's Crystal and Ethan, and they're walking.
It's just a montage of the festival.
Yeah.
And I thought this was shot really nice. I didn't need another montage, don't get me wrong. But, just the footage of the festival was great, I thought. And I did like the soundtrack.
Yeah.
To this
it's
movie.
Not my kind of music, but you're right.
But I thought it was pitched really well.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good soundtrack. It did sort of drag this thing up, I've got to say. Some of the cinematography and the soundtrack dragged this movie up for me.
Absolutely.
They were the best things about it.
100%. So this montage is Crystal and Ethan in a split screen walking to a soundstage or a stage separately.
Worth pointing out at this stage, I think, it's a big festival. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people here.
Yeah.
Chances of you bumping into one other person that, will be narratively compelling in this movie are
astronomical.
Absolutely astronomical.
However, they are soulmates.
Yes.
We've already had this established. So this is fate. They literally bump into each other.
Yeah, in the midst of this huge crowd.
They literally, you see them walking separately and eventually they bump into each other. And they nearly kiss. They literally, without saying a word to each other.
But then, even more,
this got me.
All of Crystal's friends then turn up at the same time.
At the same place.
Yeah.
And they drag her away.
Yeah.
Considering these two have been looking for each other now. He was looking for her because of that meeting they had earlier. She was looking for him because he's her soulmate. Yeah. And they randomly have just bumped into each other. She's just like, right, see you later.
But Ethan literally like shrugs his shoulders and it's like, and then easy come, easy go.
And he wanders off the other way. Yeah. I don't know, but anyway, they don't meet each other for long. Ethan then runs backstage and backstage. And he meets up with Avilo and Chopper, and he's like, "No, I'm done. I don't want your contract.
Yeah, he's
like, go this on my own.
My friend means too much to me."
Yeah, for some reason, Tarek all of a sudden means too much to me. And no, I'm turning your offer down. Avilo's not happy about this.
He's like, you'll never work in this town again.
Basically, yeah. And just as they finish that conversation, Tarek shows up.
Great timing again.
Yeah. Tarek's somehow managed to get himself backstage.
Well, I think that is explained, though.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because he's with Neil.
How's Neil got backstage?
Because he's got a friend.
Okay.
And that turns out to be Anders.
That's fair enough. And just as Ethan's turned Avilo down, Tarek's like, comes up and tells him the full story. Like, you can't meet with this guy. He's a dickbag. And Ethan's like, I already haven't. I've already turned him down. You're my best mate. Blah 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 blah.
We're gonna do it together.
Yeah, we'll do this together. Avilo calls Ethan a nobody. He's like, you'll never get anywhere in this town. Blah blah blah. And then out of nowhere, Neil just punches him in the face.
He does.
So a fight ensues. They all get separated. They all get pulled off into different directions. Neil at that point then bumps into
Ray and Shani and Neil are all getting escorted out because Ray and Shani have been found climbing out of this sewer. And Neil's getting chucked out for assault in the headline.
And they kind of bump into each other and they recognise each other because they were all on the same bus earlier. And it basically points out that they stink.
Yeah.
They've been in the sewers for a while.
But then Anders turns up and goes, nah, let him back in.
Yeah, it's fine.
Neil's all right.
Neil's all right laying back in.
That guy, he was owed that punch.
Yeah.
And then Neil says, "Okay, I'll come back in, but can these guys come with me? I know they stink of shit, but they're nice. Can they come back?
Can they come back in?"
So they all end up. They're
back
chucked
in.
out for about 30 seconds.
Yeah, and they go, "Well, let's go and watch a Velo set because he's a dickbag, but he's the headliner of this festival."
So he's set, except Avilo's now gone all Axl Rose.
Yeah,
and he's back in his trailer.
Yeah,
he's throwing a diva tantrum because he's just been punched in the face. He's like, "Those people out there can wait."
Yes, I'm not going out there, rah, rah, rah. And so Tariq sees an opportunity here and he says to Ethan, "Come with me." And they run down.
I've written, because I wasn't quite sure this was actually where this movie was going, because I thought it was so preposterous.
Yeah.
Ethan appears to be stealing a Velo's set.
Yeah, Tariq actually says that. We'll go and steal his set. Let's just go up onto the stage and do a set.
Yeah, because that'll be allowed.
And then, well, yeah, apparently it is. Ethan's like, "I can't do that. I haven't got any of my gear." And earlier on in the day, Ethan had given Tariq a USB stick that he'd been wearing around his neck for the whole film, which had got some unfinished tracks on that he was going to demo to these record company guys. And Tariq's like, "Well, I've got this." So they've literally got one USB drive they're going to do a whole DJ set with.
But that will, despite none of his other kit working with the stuff on stage, this one will.
It turns out at this point as well that somebody has locked a Velo and Chopper into their bus, tour bus. And there's a security guard standing outside, so we don't know who's done that, but somebody's stopped them getting out. So they're trying to get out. And then Ethan gets on stage.
Yeah, he does.
And
he says, "I'm not a Velo, I'm Ethan.
Ethan Shaw.
Sure.
I'm going to entertain you." And then he starts playing some tracks. And basically he plays the set of his life. There's fireworks going on. There's
in front of hundreds of thousands of people. He's on the main stage.
Yeah, headlining this festival. There's fireworks going off. There's flames. There's all sorts of shit going on. Meanwhile, backstage, Neil and Anders have a bit of a heart-to-heart because it turns out they used to be mates.
Yeah, and Anders is like, "Look, let's the past be past."
Yeah, Avilo had apparently screwed over Neil in the past, and this is why Neil's no longer in the scene.
And then in the best dismissal of the most obvious plot hole I've ever seen in a movie, Anders just goes, "Well, we should probably go and check on Avilo because someone's going to sue the shit out of me for this."
Yeah.
And that's it.
That
covers the plot hole of him.
We'll let Ethan carry on. Somebody's going to sue me. And Neil's like, "Well, that's why you've got all the fancy lawyers." The crowd go wild. They absolutely eat Ethan's set up for dinner. They're absolutely loving it. To the point where he gets off the stage. Well, he's dancing with Tariq at one point, and then he gets off the stage and he's like going through the crowd, like high-fiving people, and everybody's going wild for him. And then Crystal has managed to somehow get through the barrier.
Do you know how difficult it is to get from in that size crowd anywhere near the front if you haven't been there for about 10 hours?
Yeah, and not only at the front, through the barrier.
I know she's got a pass, which is fine. Yeah, that's not. I'm just talking about logistically moving through that amount of people.
But anyway, their eyes lock across this crowd, and they have a kiss, and then the film ends.
Yeah,
with XOXO comes upon the screen because that's the name of the film and the festival, and then over the credits, while the credits are playing, the drug guys. He's been wearing a GoPro all the way through, and it's just his footage of the film from his perspective is playing through the credits, and that's it.
Kind of neat.
Yeah, it was. It was all right. What did you think, Nick?
I mean, I liked it more than I thought I would when I was sort of...
I really don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I did think it looked really nice.
It's a beautiful looking film.
And I did like the soundtrack.
Yeah.
But there's nothing here.
No, there's no story.
There's none of these characters are all wafer thin.
Yeah. All of them. Even Ethan is just... It's such a wafer thin plot and a wafer thin story.
Yeah. And
the characters themselves are just nobodies.
Yeah, there's just nothing to it.
No.
None of them.
No.
I'm not saying I dislike all of them, because I thought I quite like the guy playing Ethan.
Yeah.
You know, I thought Tariq, there was a bit of charisma there, but they're given nothing to do.
No.
There's nothing for them to get their teeth into.
No.
As you say, Ray and Channy's characters...
Just get rid.
Don't need to be in there.
Just get rid. Completely get rid. They literally spend the whole time in a sewer. And they have the same conversation at the beginning about them having this long distance relationship as they do at the end.
Yeah.
They don't develop anything.
They're a waste of time.
Yeah, complete waste of time.
It's chewing gum, this movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
It looks fine. Tastes all right for a bit. By the end of it,
there's no substance. No flavour left.
And it's not leaving any lasting memories for me.
No. I would say
it's quite pretty.
This movie is instantly forgettable.
Yeah.
I literally watched it last night.
Whilst I was watching it, I didn't dislike it. And I'm still saying now, I didn't dislike it, but it's just meh.
It's just meh. It's just nothing. I literally watched it last night. I woke up this morning, I was like, I need to try and remember this film. It's like, there's nothing here, story-wise, at all. There's too many surplus characters.
Yeah.
The guy, Neil, you can get rid of that character.
Sure.
You don't need it. You can get rid of Ray and Shani, and that gives you more time then to build up your other characters.
Yeah, and you can maybe do a bit more with having Chopper and Avino as
the bad
villains.
guys. Yeah.
Because they're just as paper thin.
Tariq's trip goes on for
I'm not even sure you need Anders, to be honest.
Probably not, no. He's just like the shaman of the group who makes this festival. Tariq's drug tip is great, but it goes on for too long.
It does, yeah.
And Crystal chasing down this boy is really annoying after a while. You're just reading text messages on the screen. There's no conversation going on. And that takes too long. And a lot of the fat just needs trimming away. But then if you do that, you're not left with a lot. And that's the problem here, I think. It's
trim that fat away, but spend more time with the more interesting characters.
Yeah. Ethan and Tariq and Avilo. That's all you need. You've got your antagonists and your protagonists.
Yeah.
That's all you need. There's too many side characters in this.
You know, if you've got, expand the stuff with Crystal and you could have quite a sweet sort of love story here. Yeah. But there's just not enough focus on anything. There's not enough focus on anything.
No, absolutely.
And the whole thing falls apart.
You could have had her texting Ethan. And this was her mysterious online boyfriend that she didn't know. And eventually it turns out to be him.
Or they just find each other while they're there and get rid of the whole texting thing.
But like you said a minute ago, it does look beautiful. The soundtrack's great.
Yeah.
Everybody in it's great. It's just they're not given enough to do.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in it is bad.
No, not at all.
To be honest.
If anything, I'd say most people in it are good.
Yeah. But there's just nothing for them.
Yeah, there's literally just a wafer thin script.
Yeah.
I mean, the logistics of filming at a festival must be an absolute nightmare. I can't imagine it was a fun shoot to do, but at least give me a script to work with.
Yeah.
What's the best thing about it?
I think it's the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And it's not often we give much
love
to soundtracks, but this is a music festival.
Yeah.
So it should be good.
Yeah.
And it is good.
And it is good.
And it's pitched right, the crescendos are at the right place. It's the slower numbers are at the right place. There's a good choice of tunes. And Pete Tong was the music producer on this movie.
Was he really?
So there you go.
Pick that up.
He knows a thing or two about
music.
This sort of music.
He does indeed. I personally, I think it's the visuals. I think there's some really nice directorial choices in this. So this nice not made anything before or since.
Yeah.
There are some really nice, like the split screen montages and the shots of Tariq when he's tripping.
There's enough here, isn't there, in some of that cinematography and the creativeness in like, Tariq's trip and just generally how this festival's filmed to make you think, if that guy had done something else, Jonathan Louie?
Christopher Louie.
If that guy had done something else since, I'd go and probably check it out.
Yeah.
Because there's a few things that go, oh yeah, you've done a pretty good job there.
This guy should be making
technically.
Yeah, this guy should be making festival documentaries. He knows how to shoot a festival, so he made it look beautiful. That last scene in the tent where Ethan's doing the headline set, and there's fireworks going off, and there's fire, and there's lasers, and there's smoke. Yeah. It just looks amazing. It's really nice. What would you change about it? I think we've already covered that.
I think we've covered that. Yeah,
you cut your main character, you cut some of your side characters out. Yeah. Give more time to your main characters.
It doesn't need to be this ensemble piece that it tries to be.
It doesn't. It tries too hard to get too much going on.
Yeah.
Cool. Shall we talk Stream Table?
Yeah, let's do it. I think this is...
It's going to trouble us a little bit, isn't it?
Tricky.
It is
because
tricky.
I really did like some of this movie.
Shall I run through it all?
Or? Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so currently at 12th in the Stream Table is Set Up. 11th is 8 Remains. 10th is Target. 9th is Hard Times. 8th is Comes a Bright Day. 7th is The Land of Steady Habits. 6th is The Parts You Lose. 5 is All at Sea. 4 is Body Cam. 3 is Pentagram. 2 is The Trip. And 1 is Summit of the Gods. Where does this go? Normally when I'm reading through that, I have like an idea of where I would like this to go, but I've got no idea for this one.
I think that, we had that, the start of this season, we had that first 5 or 6, and we were like, these are all okay, but they've got a lot of problems. On one day, that one might be this high, but that's quite movable. I think this is kind of along those lines. As I look at that now, I'm actually thinking there's an argument there for this to be top of that batch.
Yeah, I think you're right. Those films are all still together in this table. They're between 5 and 10.
And I kind of thinking this might just get into the top 5.
Should we work? Well, currently number 5 is All at Sea.
Yeah.
So is this a better film than All at Sea?
For me, yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah. I think so. I think I had more... I was swept along by this to a degree because of the music and how it looks.
Honestly, never expected this. I genuinely thought I would hate this movie.
Yeah.
And I don't hate it. It's actually quite good. And I'm really surprised.
It's got a lot of problems.
It's got lots of problems in it.
It's awful, and it is just throwaway.
But from what the films that we see, I think you're right. It is better than All at Sea.
Yeah.
And I'm really surprised to be saying that out of my mouth. What about body cam then? Does it trouble body cam?
I think it's close. I think my preference is, again, body cam's got a lot wrong with it, but it is trying to do something a bit weird and different. So I think probably that just gives it the edge.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But I think it's close.
Yeah, I think body cam's probably a more well-rounded film. It's got a proper
body cam,
story.
again, similar to this, in no other way, in that they both probably try to do a bit too much.
Yeah.
If they just scaled back a bit. I think fifth is a good...
fifth is surprisingly
place.
high for it. I wasn't expecting it to get there, but I think it's right. I don't think we're beating
Well, I was nodding along to the music in this. It does look really nice.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Wow. Who'd have thunk it? Fifth. Do you want to pick next week's film?
I will pick next week's film because I am playing my wild card.
Wild card.
Oh, really?
Yeah, time to get in on this action.
Wow, Nick's going to play his wild card. So for those of you who don't know, all of our Patreons and me and Nick every season get a wild card. So instead of picking something randomly like we normally do, we'll pick that film of the next week for us to watch.
Sure.
And that is what Nick has just decided to do.
And
it's always an exciting time.
It took me a while. Yeah, it took me a while this season to decide what I'm going for.
Okay.
But
I'm excited.
I've looked at this one for a while, and I think it's finally time to pull the trigger. Be scared, other wild card players, because I've chosen a movie starring some pretty high caliber talent.
Oh, you're going for it. You're going to try and win it this year.
Gillian Anderson is in this movie.
Okay. One of my favourites.
Oscar-winning Sir Ben Kingsley is in this movie.
What is this movie?
The movie I've chosen is Robot Overlords.
What?
Robot Overlords.
But you just said Gillian Anderson and Ben Kingsley.
Yeah, I know.
And it's called Robot Overlords?
It is, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to look it up, and then I'll give you some...
That's the paradox.
Okay, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, me too.
Robot Overlords is from 2014. It's 12A and it runs for an hour and a half. Do you want to know the synopsis?
Yes, I do.
Earth has been conquered by robots from a distant galaxy.
Sure.
Survivors are confined to their houses and must wear electronic implants, risking incineration by robot sentries if they venture outside.
There you go.
How do you sign up people like Ben Kingsley? And
I have no idea, and that's why I want to delve into this to find out exactly that. Because it feels somewhat paradoxical that Ben Kingsley and Gillian Anderson are starring in a British movie called Robot Overlords.
Tamar Hassan's in it as well.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
Roy Hood.
There you go. Absolute royalty.
Do you know who else is in it?
No.
Layla Roddy.
Okay.
Remember Layla Roddy?
Yeah.
He was in Michael. He was the granddad in Michael Inside back at the beginning.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Season
very Irish.
3. Very Irish film. Wow.
There you go.
What a cast. I'm excited. 4.6 out of 10 on IMDb.
Okay.
Think you're going to trouble the summit of the gods up there at the top?
I'm not saying that is the intention of this choice. I just think it will make for a good episode.
I'm excited to watch that. I'm not going to lie. So go and check that out. And in the meantime, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd, the same username @BOTS_podcast. If you want to drop us an email, the email address is bottomofthestream@gmail.com. And if you want to check out our website is bottomofthestream.com. On the website, you'll find every episode we've ever recorded, all the stream tables, loads of other cool stuff. And if you want to buy some merch, you can get a bottom of the stream.
Shoes.
Why not? I was not expecting that. After you've done all that, head over to Patreon, patreon.com/bottom of the stream. For a couple of quid every month, you can get early access to episodes. You'll get bonus episodes. You will get a newsletter that Nick writes every month. And if you come in at the top level, you'll get a wild card, which means you can do what Nick's just done and pick a film for us to watch for one particular week of a season.
You sure
and then
can.
After you've done all of that, head over to Discord. The Discord is a group of people who love this podcast, love movies, love life. They're great people. We have such a fun time in there. We did a movie watch along last weekend.
Sure.
Well, I did. You were unavailable.
I was on holiday.
We watched. Oh, I'll talk about it more in the wave next week. But
okay.
We watched an amazing movie, and we sat and chatted for 4.5 hours.
I know exactly which movie you're talking about. So.
We sat for 4.5 hours and just chatted, and it was great. It was just a nice time to sit and chat with some friends that we've met through this podcast.
Yeah, if you like them apples, come and join us.
The Discord link will be in the bottom of the show notes.
If you've got a few minutes, please also consider leaving us a review or a rating anywhere you can review or rate podcasts. That could be Podbean, Podchaser, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, any of those.
Loads. Pretty much anywhere.
All of those and more. We're on all those places.
Yeah.
So it really helps us. Please do spare a couple of minutes to do that.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Excellent. So when you've done all of that, go out and check out Robot Overlord.
I'm so excited.
That seems like the most bottom of the stream film
I've
ever done. I'm excited. Yeah, go and check out bottom of the stream. Do that. Definitely do that. And then check out Robot Overlords. And we'll come back next Monday for The Wave. The Wave will return.
Yes.
And next Thursday for that episode.
Cheers.
Bye.